look forward to that day when Nigeria will come out of the valley of dry bones, when a new Nigeria will come out as a bright new day, a new Nigeria we can all dream about, a new Nigeria where that is transitioning from a consumer economy to more productive and multi-layer creative economic sector. A new Nigeria where elections are held in the atmosphere of peace, fairness and credibility. A new Nigeria that will rise out of insecurity, ensuring that citizens are asleep with their two eyes closed. A new Nigeria where justice is served irrespective of status or personality. A new Nigeria where the youth can dream and dream beyond the realm of possibilities and actualization. A new Nigeria where leadership can be seen from the positionality of service. Political leadership offices can be seen from the positionalities of service, not necessarily rulership, where public office holders can be held accountable in the discharge of their services to the public and the people. A new Nigeria is possible. It's possible. It's a possibility if only we can work towards that and keep hope alive that one very day Nigeria will attain that height. It is a possibility. I believe in it. You should believe in it. So it begins with me. It begins with you. It begins with everybody. We must all put our hands on deck to ensure that this new Nigeria becomes our reality. It is our collective purpose and the destiny we share together. All right, with that, we welcome you to AM Today, your Monday morning current affairs show that keeps you enlightened and as well engaged on this platform. Good morning to you all. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Alex Adejoye. Of course, I'm not alone on the show this morning. As usual, I got my colleague, Adebukola Oba. Good morning, Bukola.
Good morning, Alex. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing and how was your weekend?
Very great,
okay.
Very great.
Good morning to our viewers. Welcome to AM Today. It's another beautiful Monday morning from Osrc Television Studios, Akure, Orita Bele. My name is Adebukola Oba, and of course, we are here again to inform you, to engage you, and to discuss important conversations that actually matters to you. So don't go nowhere. Please stay with us.
Of course, do stay with us. But before we even move on, I'm not really happy over the weekend.
Okay.
Given the fact
what
that Arsenal, they are at it again.
Okay.
The usual style,
so you're an Arsenal fan?
Yeah. I've been following Arsenal for quite a long time now, since my secondary school days. And the artist again, the usual near success syndrome is coming up again.
Okay.
It's like you are in love with Arsenal. When you are in love with someone.
You guys have not gotten any cup for years now.
Honestly, for donkey years.
For donkey
years. We are all looking forward to it. Even some of us, we pretend not to be supporting Arsenal again, but when you are in love with someone and that person is constantly breaking your heart, and you feel like it's time to let go.
Yes, why don't you just?
But the residue of that feeling is still very much with you. Sometimes you are not watching football. When Arsenal is playing, you are not there. But sometimes you go and check to know what was the score now.
That connection is still there.
It's still there. Okay. And when the EPL started, the English Premier League started this season, I was hoping that maybe this is the right time, this is the time. But over the weekend, they broke my heart again.
We were whooped by Chelsea, right?
No, we lost to Bournemouth, an average team in Premiership, which shouldn't be coming from someone who is topping the top of the table. Oh. So it's quite unfortunate. I'm feeling sad.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
Heartbreaking.
Are you sure you're going to be able to eat like this?
All right.
What happened?
It's okay. Let's move straight to the business of the day, and we are starting with paper review.
Okay. And
I have the Nation newspaper, the Guardian, the Leadership newspaper, and the Hope newspaper. And starting with this story, bombs rain on fleeing terrorists, many killed at notorious market. With the rider, we shot Gili market 5 years ago, says Zulum Buratai. It is a necessary military action. Bomb rain on fleeing terrorists suspected of hiding at the Gili market in a boundary communities straddling Yobe and Borno State at the weekend. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum said the market was notorious for harboring insurgents and all other logistic suppliers. But the precision military operation against the insurgents in the northeast spiraled into controversy over report of heavy civilian casualties. The Nigerian Air Force confirmed carrying out the strike, but has come under scrutiny amid claims that the operation affected civilians in Jili. Jili is a boundary community between the Gobio local government area of Borno and the Gedam local government area of Yobe. While military authority insists that the target was a terrorist enclave, local accounts suggest that a thriving market frequented by traders may have been caught in the crossfire, leaving many fear dead and several others injured. The incident occurred on Saturday evening. The market, known for attracting cross-border traders, was said to be bustling at the time of the strike. Local sources and hospital officials indicated that the casualty ran high, although the exact number remain unclear. For details on that report, check the Nation newspaper.
All right. From insecurity, I'm going to be taking my first news from Punch newspaper. Police reject report of 1,100 kidnappings in 90 days. The Nigerian police force has questioned a report by Amnesty International claiming that at least 1,100 persons were kidnapped across Nigeria within 3 months. The police described the figure as unverified and not cross-checked with security agencies. Reacting to the report on Sunday, the force public relations officer, Anthony Placid, challenged the source of the data, insisting that the organization did not consult the police before publishing its findings. What is their source of information? They didn't consult the police or cross-check with us. We have our records and they didn't check with us. If they didn't consult us, then you should know better. Ask for the source of their report, he said. Amnesty International had, in a statement, called on the federal government to urgently tackle worsening insecurity, particularly in northern Nigeria, where it said mass abductions have been rampant. The organization stated that between January and April 2026, at least 1,100 people were abducted, mostly in rural communities and among internally displaced persons. For more information on that news, you can find that on Punch newspaper.
Okay, still very well with the Nation newspaper. IG declares wars on extortion, right abuse. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Rilwan Disu, has issued a directive to Commissioner of Police nationwide, ordering to end to extortion, illegal checkpoints, harassment of citizens, and other acts of misconduct. He declared that restoring public confidence in the Nigerian police force was a top operational priority. The order was contained in a signal to members of the police management team, including CPS and other operational commanders sent by the nation. In the strongly worded marching order, the IGP acknowledged the deep mistrust many Nigerians feel towards officers, describing it as painful and unacceptable. He says citizens fear encounters with the police as much as they fear criminals, warning that such a reputation cannot continue under his leadership. According to him, the directive marks the beginning of a determined effort to rebuild discipline within the police and re-establish its legitimacy in the eyes of the public. The order specifically outlawed the routine collection of money from motorists on the highways and the operation of unauthorized checkpoints and the practice of arresting citizens and forcing them to withdraw cash from automated teller machines, ATM. For details of that report, check the Nation newspaper.
Still on Punch newspaper, Fire Service blames power surge for Kwara fire. The Kwara State Fire Service has attributed a fire outbreak in the Pakata area of Ilorin to a power surge, noting that swift intervention by its personnel prevented widespread destruction. Punch Metro learned that the incident occurred at number 61 Itaogumbo area, Pakata Road, Ilorin on Saturday at 11:09 a.m. Confirming the incident in a statement signed on Sunday by the Public Relations Officer and Head of Media Unit, Mr. Hassan Adekule, on behalf of the Director of the Kwara State Fire Service, the agency said, the Kwara State Fire Service responded to a fire outbreak at number 61 Pakata Road, Itaogumbo area, Ilorin, Kwara State. The incident involved a building comprising 8 rooms and 5 shops, of which 1 shop was affected by the fire. Adekunle said firefighters promptly arrived at the scene and through swift intervention successfully contained the fire, preventing it from spreading to other shops, rooms, and nearby properties. Preliminary investigations revealed that the fire was caused by a power surge, which ignited combustible materials within the affected shop. For more details on this story, you can find that on Punch newspaper. But there's something I want to talk about on this fire incident. I don't think we've had something like that in Ondo State for quite a while now, and I can say that we have functioning fire services. So it's one thing to be able to protect the citizens of the state from anything fire outbreak, and it's another thing to get these officials to respond on time. So something like this is actually commendable from the fire service. And
it's also on the part of the citizen to ensure that they are following strict procedures in terms of preventive measures to ensure that outbreaks like these don't happen. You understand the point?
And to call the agency on time
as well is okay. Now, still with the Nation newspaper, 93-year-old medical doctor in Ndela net for drug trafficking. You might be wondering, what is a 93-year-old medical doctor doing with drug? Some would just assume that he should be resting after paying his due, but we get to know the reason. A 93-year-old great-grandpa, Power Friday, Hakuna Chibu, and a 69-year-old medical doctor, Shudi Daniel of Fomata, have been arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for trafficking skunk, various cannabis, and cocaine. Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, headquarters Abuja, Femi Babafemi, in a statement said that Pa Chibu was arrested at his home in Umagbagba, Amovo Nkwo village, Osimo local government area of Abia State last Tuesday during a search of his residence, where 7.7 kilograms of skunks and a strains of cannabis were recovered. The suspect claimed he was a truck pusher moving to painting and tiling before going into illicit drug business over a year ago, Babafemi added. He claimed that he had been smoking skunk since 1959, before turning into a business. He added, Babafemi also said efforts to unravel local collaborators of an international drug syndicate paid when an Ivorian, Gary Michael, 41, was arrested at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, with 82 wraps of cocaine weighing 1.49 kg, and a 69-year-old medical doctor, Shudi Daniel of Famata, NAD, in a follow-up in Ogun State. Details of that report is published in the Nation newspaper.
One wonder what's a
93-year-old man.
Well, I believe it's the money as people monitoring.
Money at that age?
Yes, he wants to sell to get money from what he's selling.
Maybe he's not getting the needed, but according to what he said, he has been taking this since 1959.
And he was like, it's time for me to get money from
so he's turning into business. Well, it's okay.
Oh, he was nabbed. I'm going to be taking my next story from Nigerian Tribune. 2027, Peter Obi raised monsters in obedience. Abike Dabiri. Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has taken a swipe at supporters of Peter Obi, describing them as monsters and warning that their action could negatively affect his political future ahead of the 2027 elections. In a series of posts shared on X, formerly Twitter, on Sunday, Dabiri Erewa argued that the former Labour Party presidential candidate should be held accountable for the behavior of his supporters, popularly known as obedience. According to her, obedient supporters could ultimately undermine his ambitions if their conduct remains unchecked. Peter Obi has actually raised monsters. By God's grace, Bola Ahmed Tinubu will win the 2027 elections. When it's the turn of the Southeast and perhaps it falls on him, I hope he realizes that this obedience could ironically become his downfall. He needs to call them to order, she wrote. She reiterated her stance in follow-up post, maintaining that the actions of the group, if not addressed, could harm Obi's chances in future elections. Responding to criticism over her comments, Dabiri Erewa defended her engagement on social media, stating that her role as a public official does not preclude her from responding to attacks. This is my personal account. You can hack it again if you wish. So because I am a public official, I should remain silent in the face of what I consider toxic behavior, she added. The comments came in the wake of reactions from obese reporters to an earlier post in which WE Erewa shared details of her visit to Silicon Valley, California, where she met Nigerian professionals and experienced a ride in a driverless car. For more details on that story, you can find it on Nigerian Tribune.
100 million captured in tax net, says Oyedele. The federal government has reported earlier gains from its new tax reform, with a sharp rise in business registrations and a significant increase in the number of Nigerians captured in the tax system. The Minister of State for Finance, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this in a message shared on his WhatsApp platform on Sunday, stating that the reforms are already changing how individuals and businesses interact with the tax system. According to him, thousands of informal businesses are now approaching the Corporate Affairs Commission daily for formal registration. A development is said points to growing confidence in the new tax framework. He added that the number of individuals registered for tax purposes across the country has risen sharply from fewer than 100 million before the reform to from 10 million before the reforms over to 100 million. This impressive result stems from the robust design and progressive nature of the law, Oyedele said. He explained that the reforms introduced several measures aimed at easing the burden on low-income earners and small businesses. These include exemption for small companies for paying certain taxes, higher income threshold before individuals are required to pay tax, and the removal of taxes on basic needs such as food, education, healthcare, transportation, and rent. The minister also pointed to the creation of a tax board, which is designed to protect taxpayers and ensure fairness in the system. Details of that report is published in the Nation newspaper.
Okay, still on Nigerian Tribune. Global shocks. Nigeria rejects World Bank's advocacy for increased fuel imports, CPPE. Nigerian government and policymakers have been urged to reject the World Bank's advocacy for increased fuel and food imports. Rather, the Chief Executive Officer, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, urged the federal government to prioritize reforms that build a resilient, self-reliant, and industrialized the economy. He said that emphasis should be on expanding and stabilizing domestic production capacity, ensuring reliable crude supply to local refineries on competitive terms, and fostering an enabling environment for downstream sector investments, while emphasizing that industrialization should be Nigeria's priority. He noted that sustainable economic transformation is anchored on production, value addition, and industrial capability, and not import dependence. He pointed out that suggestion that supply side constraints should be addressed through increased imports runs counter to Nigeria's long-term development aspirations. The desired policy direction, according to him, would be to allow Nigeria to expand domestic refining capacity and not issue more import licenses for petroleum products. He pointed out that encouraging importation at this stage would undermine investor confidence in local refining, weaken backward integration, and reverse progress towards energy security. For more details on that news, you can find that on Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, away from the Nation newspaper now, moving on to the Guardian newspaper. And let's take a look at what is happening in Edo State. Edo flags of 2026 farming season, tax farmers on innovation. The Edo State government has officially commenced the 2026 farming season, calling on farmers to adopt innovation and best practices and utilize improved inputs made available to them. Flagging of the season at the State Agric Hub at the weekend, the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Jerry Nwagwe, said the event was not just to mark the beginning of the farming season, but also to sensitize farmers on the importance of timely planting adoption of improved agricultural practices, and effective utilization of modern inputs such as improved seeds, fertilizers, agrochemicals, and mechanized equipment. Experience has shown that early and well-coordinated planting combined with the use of quality inputs significantly increases productivity, enhances crop yield, and ultimately guarantees food availability for our growing population. He said the commissioner, who expressed the Edo State government commitment to strengthening agriculture as the backbone of our economy, ensuring food security for our people, and improving the livelihood of our farmers, noted that the programs align with the governor's Shine agenda, particularly in the area of economic growth and food sufficiency. Details is published in the Guardian newspaper.
Still on Nigerian Tribune, Olubado, Makinde Obaladoja faults Fayoshe on alleged dethronement plot. The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, and the Olubado of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, have faulted former Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Ayodele Fayoshe, over a reported plot to dethrone Ladoja as the 44th Olubado of Ibadan land. The duo, in separate reactions through their media aides, described the alleged plot as an unfounded and baseless rumor. The former Ekiti State Governor, Ayo Fayoshe, wrote on his ex-handle that Governor Seyi Makinde was plotting to remove Ladoja as Olubado of Ibadan land. He also stated that Ladoja would be issued a query for not attending the elevation ceremony of High Chief Sharafaddin Ali to the status of Obas in Ibadan last week. When contacted, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Prince Dotun Oyelade, said the government have been contemplated, discussed, or planned such said the government had never contemplated, discussed, or planned such an action. He said, by now, Nigerians know who and what to believe, especially when the information comes from a particular quarter. Oyo State government has never contemplated, discussed, or planned such an action. There has to be a credible motive for every government action, and this, coming from the unofficial spokesman of our opponents, is better put in the refuse dump where it belongs. Desperate politics foist thoughtless propaganda and reduces democracy into a joke. For more details on that story, you can find that on Nigerian Tribune.
Crisis hit ADC in state ahead of the May 12 ESCO's inauguration, with the riders APC mocks as calls mount for dialogue. Imoke Tamboa Atiku will be to head ADC Convention Committee. The leadership crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress ADC has intensified, with growing concerns that the persistent internal disputes and legal battles could weaken the party structures ahead of the future political contest. Many states have caught in the crisis bug, with different factions throwing up leaders from their respective conventions. At the center of the crisis, especially in Adamawa State, is the increasing resort to experte court order by opposing factions. A development political observer said is further polarizing party members and complicating efforts to achieve unity. Amid the storm, ADC has officially released update list of convention committee and subcommittees ahead of its forthcoming national convention. In a statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi, the party said the update is aimed at strengthening coordination and ensuring a smooth and credible convention. Analysts warn that if the situation is not carefully managed, the instability could create an opening for all progressive Congress to gain political advantage. Details of that report is published in the Guardian newspaper.
So the world news now on Punch newspaper. Trump says not a big fan of Pope Leo after his anti-war message. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters Sunday that he is not a big fan of Pope Leo the 15th after the global leader of Catholics made a plea for peace. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime, Trump told reporters at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. He accused the pontiff of toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon. On Sunday, the 70-year-old American Pope publicly implored leaders to end the violence, telling worshippers at St. Peter's Basilica, enough of the idolatry of self and money, enough of the display of power, enough of war. Trump reiterated his comments to reporters with a post on the Truth Social saying, "I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon." Washington and the Vatican have recently denied reports of a rift. On Friday, a Vatican official denied reports that a top Pentagon official gave the church envoy to the United States a bitter lecture over Pope Leo's criticisms of the Trump administration. The story in the Free Press, which the Pentagon had already dismissed as distorted, reported that Cardinal Christophe Pierre was summoned in January to the Pentagon, where he was given a dressing down by U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Elbridge Colby. The military official reportedly told the cardinal that the United States has the military power to do whatever it wants and that the church had better take a side. For more details on that story, you can find that on Punch newspaper.
Alright, let's take this sports story. Arsenal to sack Arteta if Gunners fail to win EPL Champions League. Of course, to me, it's long overdue. We are not even crossing our boundary in this case. We are not, because the Champions League is more like a mission impossible. It's not as if it's not possible, but if that is the case, but the target should primarily be
I like that you have a lot of belief in your in Arsenal.
All right,
I like that for you.
I do, but the disappointment is getting too weighty.
Do you think you leave Arsenal for another?
I'm not sure. I've tried this so many times. Unfortunately, I couldn't.
The love is there.
So there are reports in Spain that Arsenal will sack Mikel Arteta if he fails to lead the Gunners to either the Premier League or the Champions League trophy this season. Reports metro.co.uk. This comes 24 hours after an Arsenal fan in Uganda, Eric Kamia, threatened to take the club to court for emotional distress caused by the team's 1-2 loss to Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium. Arteta, who is into his sixth full season as Arsenal manager, looked to set to oversee a historic season at the Emirates Stadium, as his side threatening to win unprecedented quadruple. Arsenal was challenging for all 4 trophies this time last month, but Arteta's side fell short in the 2 domestic cup competitions, losing to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final before an FA Cup quarter-final defeat to Championship side Southampton. The Gunners are still favourite to win the Premier League, a trophy that has eluded them since 2024, but a disappointing 2-1 defeat at home to Bournemouth on Saturday has given chasing Man City more hope. For details of that report, check the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, I think that will be all for now.
Okay, let me just take a few stories from the Hope newspaper, okay. And let's go to the home front now. Fulani applaud Aiyedatiwa Ondo Assembly over passage of Owena Press Bill. The recent passage of the Owena Press Limited Bill by the Ondo State House of Assembly has been described as a landmark development capable of revitalizing the state media and economic landscape. Recall that a bill seeking to convert Owena Press Limited into Ondo State Printing and Publishing Corporation (OSPPC) was passed into law last Thursday after scaling through the third reading at the Assembly. Reacting to the development in an interview with the Hope, the chieftain of All Progressive Congress (APC) in the state and public affairs analyst Chief Dapo Fulani expressed excitement over the transformation of the state-owned media outfit into a corporation, noting that the move will restore its lost relevance. The former policymaker recalled that it is in its early years when our press served as hub for printing services, attracting patronage for materials such as calendars, school registers, educational materials, invitation cards, programs, official documents, thereby generating revenue for the state government. According to him, the rebirth of the corporation will not only revive the tradition, but also create opportunities for increased economic generation and reduced dependency on external contractors for government printing needs. He stressed the need to equip the corporation with modern printing machines and services so that it can serve as a hub of technology, ensuring that Ondo State align with current trends while preserving the relevance of print media despite the rise of social media platforms. Now for details of that story, check the Hope newspaper.
Okay.
And with that, we conclude newspaper review this morning, and we take a break now. When we come back, it will be time for the first discussion for today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends. But before the fame, there was fire. Born on October 25, 1900 in Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Funmilayo was born Frances Abigail Olufunmilayo Thomas. She came from a family that valued education, and in 1914, she became the first female student at Abeokuta Grammar School. Determined and brilliant, she later traveled to England for further studies, a rare feat for a Nigerian woman at that time. There, she trained as a teacher, absorbing ideas of equality and freedom that would shape her life's mission. On returning to Nigeria in the 1920s, she married Reverend Israel Ransome Kuti, a clergyman and educator. Together, they worked to uplift their community through education. But Funmilayo was not content with just teaching. She saw how colonial rule and traditional structures oppressed Nigerian women, and she decided to act. In 1947, she founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of Africa's most powerful grassroots women movements. The group fought against unfair taxation and the corrupt practices of the Alake, the traditional ruler of Abeokuta. Thousands of women led by Funmilayo marched in protest. They sang, they chanted, they occupied, and eventually they won. The Alake was forced to abdicate. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was fearless. She was one of the few Nigerian women to drive a car, to travel widely, and to speak truth to power. Her activism didn't stop in Abeokuta. She was a founding member of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, a member of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. And in 1953, she became the first Nigerian woman to visit the Soviet Union, a move that earned her the label communist sympathizer by British authorities. But she wasn't deterred. In fact, she was emboldened. In her her later years, she focused on broader issues: education, voting rights, women participation in politics. She advocated for the inclusion of women in leadership and resisted Nigeria's slide into authoritarianism. She raised 4 children, including Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer, instilling in them the spirit of resistance and truth. But tragedy would eventually come. In 1977, during a brutal military raid on Fela's compound, known as Kalakuta Republic, Funmilayo was thrown from his second-story window by soldiers. She never recovered from the injuries, and on April 13th, 1978, she passed away. Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was more than a mother, more than a teacher. She was a symbol of courage, of resistance, of dignity. She paved the path so Nigerian women could walk tall, speak freely, and fight for justice. Her legacy lives in every classroom, every protest, every woman who dares to say enough is enough. This was the story of Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, the lioness of Lisabi, a voice that cannot be silenced, a spirit that lives on.
Chief Michael Adekunle Ajashin, born November 28, 1908, was a distinguished Nigerian educator, politician and statesman renowned for his integrity, commitment to democracy, and transformative impact on education in Nigeria. Born in Owo, present-day Ondo State, Ajashi began his education at St. Andrew's College, Oyo, from 1924 to 1927, where he trained as a teacher. He furthered his studies at Fowler Bay College in Sierra Leone, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in English, Modern History and Economics in 1946. He then obtained a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of London in 1947. Ajashin's career in education commenced with his appointment as principal of Imadi College in Owo in 1947. He was instrumental in staff development, encouraging teachers to pursue further training at institutions like University College Ibadan. In 1963, he founded Owo High School, serving as the first principal until his retirement in 1975. Ajashin's political journey began in the 1950s as a founding member and national vice president of the Action Group, advocating for policies such as free education, universal health care, and Nigeria's immediate independence. He served as a federal legislator from 1954 to 1966. In 1979, he was elected governor of Ondo State under the Unity Party of Nigeria (UPN) with Akin Omoboriwo as his deputy. His administration prioritized education, establishing the Ondo State University in 1982, now Ekiti State University, and the Polytechnic Owo. In the 1983 elections, Ajashin was initially declared the loser amid allegations of electoral malpractice. However, the Supreme Court later reinstated him, affirming his victory. His tenure was cut short by the military coup on 31 December 1983. In 1939, Ajashin married Babafunke Tenabe, a fellow educator. They had 4 children, including Olajumoke Anifowoshi, who later served as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ondo State. Ajashin's commitment to democracy was evident in the 1990s when he became a leading figure in the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, advocating for the restoration of democracy and the recognition of MKO Abiola's electoral mandate. His activism led to his arrest in 1995 under General Sani Abacha's regime. In recognition of his contributions, Ondo State University was renamed Adekunle Ajashin University in 2000. His governance style, marked by simplicity and incorruptibility, remains a benchmark in Nigerian politics, as he once stated. And I quote, "I came into office in October 1979 with a set of my own rich native dresses and left office in December 1983 with the same set of dresses. No addition, no subtraction." His legacies continue to linger in memories, generation after generation.
Welcome back. It's nice you're still there with us. And now we move on to our first discussion for today. And in way of analogy, in every ecosystem, there are prey, there are predators, and there are defenders, assigned with the responsibilities or empowered to protect the prey. But in a situation where it's as if both the prey and the defenders are being victimized by the predator, that suggests an abnormal ecosystem. And it's beyond what we can read on the surface. Like this, it's just the same. The devil is in the details. So who is the predator? Who is the prey? And who are the defenders? And as well, the ecosystem in context. You get to know in the course of the discussion. So this morning we are considering the focus, Nigeria's security intelligence under scrutiny, lessons from a tragic loss. And joining us for the discussion is a public commentator who also a friend of the house, Henry Olonimoyo. Good morning, Mr. Henry.
Good morning, Mr. Alex.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Good morning, Nigerians.
All right. Interestingly, I had something. Let's start on a personal note now. That you are now an aspirant. And do you want to tell us more about that?
I think we need to leave that details for later. As far as INEC timetable is concerned, parties are still carrying out the membership registration as it is now. So, and after primary registration, we'll talk of primary. So let's let the event take place before we fully.
For now.
Yes.
All right, now in the Nigerian security context, we talked about the ecosystem. That's the Nigerian society. We talked about the predator, the criminal element.
Yeah.
We also talked about the prey, the average citizens, as well as the defenders. We talked about the security officials. But in a situation, recently we lost a brigadier general and some other military officials to ambush of the Boko Haram. What does this make of our security architecture as we speak today?
Yes, so Nigeria keeps surprising us with how low we can get when it comes to battling insecurity. This is not the first time we are losing an high-ranking military official. I mean, nothing could be higher than a brigadier general who is in the combat zone. Just about a month, with less than a month ago, it was reported that we lost about 2 very courageous commanders in that same Borno state also. And it says a lot about what it has done to the psyche of the Nigerian troops. Again, you know, war also, there is the aspect of warfare that has to do with psychology. You having believed that you are having the upper hand, and the enemy being discouraged, knowing that. But when there's nothing louder and nothing more motivating for the enemy, terrorists, to know that they were able to eliminate generals. Last year we heard of General Ba, whose team was hit, and then he ran, and where he was in safety, he made a call stating his location, and somehow the terrorists got him before the Nigerian state could get him, and the country moved on as if nothing has happened.
In my view, I want to ask this question. This issue, now, like you right stated, the state of the general who made the call, and before we know what was going on, they invaded, they attacked him where he was located, and they killed him. So, are we saying that our security intelligence is being overridden by political will?
When I see things like that, there are a couple of things that are on my mind. Number one, that the presidency is not alarmed. I'm shocked, because if there is a crisis today in the country, war crisis, we're in a war situation where maybe a country is fighting against Nigeria, these are the people who will be tasked with laying their life on the line to protect Mr. President, to protect anything that has to do with the first family of the country. So if one of them dies under that circumstances and heads don't roll, and we are not doing a grand truthing to find out how those information lead to the terrorists, and how a general can die just like that.
You know, even when top officials are dying like this, what does that say about our security system?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm also trying to say is, I'm also disturbed that these people are not even trying to capture these generals alive, to probably torture them to get information. I'm disturbed. It means that they discover that there's no usefulness these people can give to them. They are on top of the situation. Because there's nowhere in the world, if enemy combatants capture a U.S. Army general, they want to see if they can get some information about them, that they are just ready to execute them immediately. It shows that for them, they are on top of their game. They have, in one way or the other, they have access, or they have a way of shadowing Nigeria's intelligence system. That's what it tells
So are you saying this is an intelligence, it's a failure in intelligence or planning?
It is clear we have a failure of intelligence. There's nobody who can dispute that.
But what about if it is more of a political way? Maybe the so-called officials assigned with that duty to gather into intelligence gathering.
Yes.
They are doing their job.
Yeah.
But it's now left for the authority to make the
make
right
use
decision.
of it.
Yes.
What about that?
Yes. So I quite understand that there is the job of the intelligence community to do their job, to drop the matter. There is a job of the political head of the army to decide, which is Mr. President, vis-a-vis is a Minister of Defense, to decide what to do, whether to do it, when to do it, how to do it. And so, either way, I also still believe that when it comes to intelligence, and for instance, if the top hierarchy of the army has an intelligence that they're about to hit a place where key military targets, generals and high valued personnel in the army is. I do not think there should be a debate on whether to protect them or not. It should not even be a debate. We watched, or we had, over the last 1 or 2 weeks, the amount of resources America spent in trying to rescue one military official who is not even a very high-ranking military official. The amount of resources they spent, and how Mr. President, the President of America, President Donald Trump, was proud to say that America lost so amount of resources because they wanted to preserve the life of one soldier. So those people were ready to lay down their life for their country.
You're also saying there's not enough resources in Nigeria, right? Apart from the intelligence issue.
No, we don't have a resources problem. I don't believe that. Number one, we have a patriotism problem.
Patriotism in what sense?
I can say it boldly.
On the part of the military?
On the part of the political head. And I can say boldly that the leadership of the country are not patriotic enough. When people like that die and they fall in war, you don't just gloss over it. It's a national mourning. It calls for, when any soldier dies in war in US, there is a special official visit to the family. There are things around it. The president mentioned their names specifically, mentions their I don't know, maybe army number or something, to show that we are value. But when you see generals falling under suspicious circumstances, some of them, they run into ambush. We have had cases where even they were fed wrong intelligence to push them into an ambush. There's the case of Colonel Abu Ali, one of the most courageous soldiers of Nigeria in the Boko Haram fight, whose team.
Rivals between the so-called terrorists and the.
That's what I'm trying to say. No. They were fed wrong intelligence. They led them right into an ambush. We have also seen here in the country when a general, I think General Adele, if I can remember his name correctly, did a video, and the video was trending, where he was communicating with the force headquarters in Abuja and says, "Sister, we are not afraid. We are there," but was trying to tell them what they have gone through, that they were fed wrong intelligence, that many of the vehicles had already been condemned. He was saying the situation. He says we are not running from the war, but was exposing the fact that there were serious technical issues. He was transferred out of the combat.
Okay, Mr. Henry, let's talk about the terrorism sponsors list that was released days ago by the federal government. We all know the federal government released a list of suspected terrorism sponsors. So how should an average Nigerian see such a thing?
You see, I think I believe that the list that was sent was more of a general list, including the elements in the southeast and the rest, and so on and so forth. So, yes, we have been crying that they should release sponsors, but you see, we don't just want fictitious names. This person, what role did they play? Have you charged them to court? Then you must also understand that there is such thing as releasing information that the event has already overtaken, because there are certain kinds of sponsors that were mentioned by the UAE, United Arab Emirates, that they said they forwarded to Nigerian state during the Buhari administration. The logistics that these terrorists are parading about, the resources they have now, are you saying that these names that you just mentioned now are the direct sponsors? If they are the direct sponsors, then nabbing them and stopping them should already be having a direct effect on the terrorists on the ground.
So are you saying the list is...
Are they still active sponsors? Or are they just... See, because when you actually get actual sponsors and you are able to get actionable intelligence from them, we will see it in the upper hand we have in the battlefield. Because mind you, there's nowhere in the world where 500-600 people with motorcycles, who need to fuel these motorcycles, who need to feed themselves, who need to get spare parts to repair these things, who are moving en masse.
Even buying
weapons. There's a lot of logistics. They're even doing videos showing Nigerian state how many captives they have. Across board.
So what's the problem? Why can't they just get these people? Is it still the intelligence?
That is why I said there is number one a patriotism problem.
Okay.
Because on one hand, the government cannot be telling us they're trying to fight terrorists, and on the other hand, they are saying they're saying, talking of repentant terrorists. Or we have one of the army general officers saying that we need to learn to forgive the terrorists, that the Holy Book says we forgive. It's if the country was operating as the country, that man should be queried. There is no country in the world that forgives terrorists, only Nigeria. No country in the world forgives terrorists, only Nigeria. And that's why the country is being ravaged by terrorism. You had better decide what you want to do. Because if you say on one hand you want to fight them, on the other hand you are saying you want to forgive them, and you know there are undercover reporters now who are releasing information over the last 1 week that they are seeing Boko Haram repentants where they are held somewhere and they are ready, and some of them they are integrated into the army. It's a mess. Nobody does that. Even if you say you bring in repentant terrorists, the first impulse is not to say you are integrating them into the army. What level of intel, what quality of intel have you gotten from them? Because if you are actually getting their foot shoulders, how much of information are they giving to you to help you in the war? How much of the briefing did you do on them to help you in the fight? But you see today, it's as if there's a clear orchestrated attempt to ensure that the battle is so much completed on the side of the Nigerian states, so that we do not find any way ahead. Look at terrorism now and terrorism 10 years ago. It's stronger now. They are now widespread now. Before we could say it was Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno, Northeast.
Divided into various
units. But now we are in the Northwest. Now they are in the North Central, Middle Belt. And now we are in the Southwest.
I still want us to expatiate more on that list.
The sponsors.
Yes. Does that suggest, coming out in the aftermath of the killing of a brigadier general and others, does that suggest more of a damage control on the part of the government, or probably is a move to actually,
contain the situation?
Terrorism?
So if the government is bringing it out, fine, good. Let's see what they want to do with that information. With that information they are giving to us, have they charged them to court? What's the quality of information they are providing to the Nigerian state?
Are they saying that these people, we cannot nab them, or they are above the law? Is that the
No. By publishing them, I want to believe that they already have them.
Who are VIPs on that list?
Yes,
that's the question I'm saying. Because you can't tell me you're getting special sponsors and these names are just ordinary names.
So
that
it's more like a damage control.
That's what it appears. It appears to me. So because the kind of resources that these terrorists boast, you can't tell me just someone somewhere. Who is he? What do these people do? We need to have a bit of small short note, footnote. This person is this. He runs so amount of money was moved from the enterprise or something to so. That can quantify and make us believe that yes, what we have gotten is real. I mean, what is value in gold in terms of intelligence or the war against the success on the war against terrorism. But we will see. You say we have sponsors. How much of progress have we gotten from by getting them? Are they been arrested? Have they been charged? So you see, what the government does not know, or I know they know, but let me say it again, is that number one duty of government is to secure lives and property. In fact, what makes government is that it has a monopoly of force in that area. That only government has the guns, the resources, because they are giving that monopoly so that they can protect the people. But when you start having non-state elements who have equal, if not superior level of force, weapons to cause havoc, then the government is effectively saying that he cannot longer operate and carry out his duty as government again. And that for me is worrying. Because and if you look at the various terror alerts that America and some of the foreign countries have released in the past 1-2 weeks, it's worrying about Nigeria.
That they are telling
their citizens not to even travel to some states, that they are put it to terror alert. Don't go there at all. And they are raising alerts about Abuja particularly. I mean, if you are hearing this kind of news, I know people say this is not the first time they have said these things. Yes, there could be a bit of exaggeration, but again, these are worrying times in the country. We have whole communities in this country where people have left. People left the communities. We've seen videos, we've seen inquiries, we've seen in Nasarawa State leaving their communities because they are afraid for their life.
Okay, so what worries you most about how information is being gathered in Nigeria? Is it that they are not getting enough information, or they are not utilizing the information?
So I do not believe we have a problem of getting intelligence. I do not believe, because you see something. When people are coming with 500 motorcycles from wherever they are coming from, before they get to where they are going to hit their target, sometimes they travel hours. There are people along the road who saw these things. And see, if we really want to gather intelligence, those people will have passed the information across. As I went, we have had situations even in Kwara where they drop warning letter, and the person who went to forward that letter to the DSS also, that these people drop warning letter that they are coming, they gave him strict warning that they saw what he did. So you see that, yes, in the Kwara, that Kwara attack that happened.
So how are they getting are they using satellites? Are they using the?
There are moles already in the system.
Okay, moles.
There are moles in the system, and that's what for me is the most very serious part of this war against terror. That there are now sympathizers of these terrorists in our system.
But how do we identify these moles in the system?
So in that kind of situation, government has to find a way to keep its the real information it wants to hide, keep it to as little number of people as possible. If you control information, if it's still leaking, then you know that somebody very high up where you are is the one passing that information. And then the government must do a job to find that mole for, because as long as you keep those moles across, you will never win that war. You will never win the war.
The problem,
you know, in a way of suspicion now, if we are to identify these moles, should we be looking into high-ranking government officials?
No, it's obvious. If you look at the way these people operate, if you see the boldness, the audacity with which you operate, you know that they have intelligence high up. Because I wonder why they don't want to capture a general to at least get information from him, and they're just ready to just execute.
They have the information
it appears that you are not a valuable source of information.
All right, at the point, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, extended the hand of friendship, you know, help to Nigeria, and to what we heard last about that is that there are troops, American troops are already in Nigeria. How come we are not seeing the effect of that?
So, for me, all of this is as if shared in secrecy. It appears the amount of American troops that came, maybe they were just coming largely for training or for technical assistance. They said they are not putting boots on the ground. And Nigeria today needs all the help it can get, if you know what I mean. It appears that the average terrorist is more motivated than the Nigerian soldier. How much are these Nigerian soldiers earning? Again, to keep them going on in the war. How are you treating the fallen heroes? How are you treating the families of these fallen heroes? Because war is also psychology. If your people are not motivated, and don't, how many times have Mr. President visited them in that place? In that place, I mean, in the war zone.
Well,
how many times have Mr. President visited injured soldiers?
You know, lately,
as the commander in chief,
Mr. President said a salary should be given to these fallen heroes, the families of these fallen heroes. I think that is one of the steps he took to at least. He said since he has resumed office.
What is the salary of what's the basic salary of the president?
We wouldn't know.
I don't think, maybe it's a little above $1 million or so, or around $2 million. The basic salary of the president. So let's we are past all of those.
Let's look at the
all those PR.
We are facing currently.
Whatever is empowering them now, but there is now this audacity they have. Again, on the other hand, it was leaked. Nigerian government has denied it, but it was leaked that for the people that were kidnapped, maybe Niger or Kebbi State, I don't know which of the state, that Nigerian government paid billions to them to get back to, because how else will you rescue those people? Nigerian State said they rescue. How did you rescue without firing a shot? Who did you arrest? Who did you gun down to rescue them? And then the report came out that Nigerian State paid. If Nigerian State paid billions, that means technically Nigerian State is finding a way, is already giving them much more resources again to fight against the Nigerian State. That's on one hand. What are the other ways? I'm not a military personnel, but what are the other ways we can fight this warfare? Number one, our body language must not communicate a different message. If we want to exterminate terrorists, let everything about our body language, our minds and resources be towards exterminating them. Let's stop having contradicting statements like the ones we're having. Let's completely abolish any program for repentant terrorists.
But let's look at it from this angle.
Yeah.
This issue of integrating terrorists
Yeah.
into repentant terrorists,
Yeah.
so to say,
Yeah.
into the system. Maybe the idea is to get information.
No,
From
it cannot.
information in order to
You cannot.
possibly
You can.
get
You can. You can. You can
sponsors.
get information from prisoners that you have gotten terrorist suspects. You can get information from them even while, through interrogation, even while you
But if
have
you are
arrested
dealing
them.
with the case of a condemned criminal, a hardened criminal,
Yeah.
sometimes getting information from elements like that may be very, very
Do you
difficult.
even think
People in military
So
will
like
tell
you
you.
said, the issue of war sometimes has to do with psychology.
Yes, people in military will tell you also
Okay.
that even hardened criminals have breaking points. That's one. They have breaking points. Number two, it is better because we are not dealing with criminals. We are dealing with people who are religious extremists also,
yes.
who are fundamentalists. That you cannot who have been clearly brainwashed. So you cannot say that you have integrated them in, because what they are believed in is they believe it till death. A study was done that some places in Europe, when they get terrorists, they put them in the prisons where they put common criminals, and discovered over time that the scale of terror started increasing because they discovered that these fundamentalists they put in prison were now radicalizing the common criminals, and the common criminals started becoming terrorists in nature. That's why you don't try to rehabilitate them.
Do you think
They must be destroyed.
religiously oriented to bring these people back into the society? Like probably they are following what
It's an extremist. There's an extremist. You know, if you see global terror,
yes,
ISWAP, whatever. The major weapon they use, they try to use religion to make it radical, because how else do you tell somebody to put a bomb to go and blow up himself to bits without telling the person that he has a reward somewhere in paradise
after
somewhere
that.
Because that is to make them desperate to die, to give their desperation, bite, vigor, passion and that's why it's a very dangerous kind of terror, because it's fueled by religious extremism.
Okay, now let's talk about religious leaders that are showing publicly expressing sympathy.
Exactly.
For terrorists.
So
how should government?
This is where the government should fight this war.
Okay.
Firstly, we don't make contradictory statements. We abolish any reconciliation plan. 1, 2. Anybody who is making statements
In support.
that is
Encouraging,
invite them
supporting.
for questioning. And I don't see a reason. I know, and this person has come out repeatedly. Sheguma has come out repeatedly to say that Nigerian state knows these terrorists, knows their sponsors, the things he says about the Nigerian state, and Nigerian state cannot do anything to him. I have an issue with that. Number 3 is, in these various states, there are political actors there and there are religious leaders there. The government must call for a stakeholders meeting, and it must be behind closed door, and spit it out. What is happening? How do we end this war? Where do we stand on this matter? And the people are able to say their minds and say certain things directly to the highest ranking officers in the country, and then they take this information and they work with it. If we are not doing all of these things, it appears that there is a calculated attempt to create an economy war. A war of economy, something to ensure that this war is perpetuated so long, so that some certain persons can be making money from the constant budgeting of resources. But you see one thing, all the countries that have played with terrorism, exactly this kind that we're talking about, there is none of them that advanced. What Nigeria is playing with, that we are joking with, it will consume our development. It will consume us if we do not do something drastic about it. And that's why I say, patriotism, the kind of leaders we have whether they are ready to really face this battle on front and ensure that they clear it out. Because see, there is no politics we need to play to the extent where we allow terrorists to be roaming freely in the land. There should be politics. Our politicians should never get to that point. There is no point we are trying to prove, and that's why you see some people on one hand say, see, as our democracy strong enough to handle this wave of terror, do we not need to begin to look at other forms of government? That as it stands today, the way our democrats, you see, until the time they start picking governors or senators.
We've had reports, I don't know how true that some of, especially bandits, they do, especially in the northern part of the country, they do go to government houses to get hand down. Yes. There are reports like that, and you cannot also throw away the issue of illegal mining in the country, because it appears that the places where you have illegal mining, you have all these terror elements there. Is the idea to make the place uninhabitable to live, so that when people run away and then they can begin to mine these resources. Now, if Nigeria shows to the world that it does not have what it takes to put its house in order, nobody outside will help you. They will only help you to compound your problem. And that is everybody. Everybody knows that Nigeria is a place where you can make cheap money and cause terror and then mine their resources. Especially when they will help you to destroy yourself. They will find the film small. And if Nigeria is passing that signal out there that, Zamfara, probably one of the richest states in the country in terms of mineral resources, gold and a lot of other things that are there, the place is under unrest. There are terrorists and the rest. Sometimes you have a no-fly zone in that area. If government cannot play its role, then there should be a question mark on whether government is truly government. Then, how should government now regulate that area in terms of people coming into the country to do illegal mining? So what should government do in terms of regulation and restriction?
So it tells you, on the floor of National Assembly, one senator, I can't remember which state he is from, said pointedly that under the Emefiele administration and the CBN, that Zamfara state government or some people in Zamfara state government brought gold from their mines and asked for that gold to be kept in their account with the CBN. And he raised he raised an objection that he said that the Zamfara gold is only meant for Zamfara and some other elements in Zamfara. Is it not meant for the federal government? I was also saying that our people also in the south, in the Niger Delta, should also find a way. So it clearly tells you something, that some individuals are taking advantage of insecurity and are packing resources, mining resources of the country, mineral resources, of the country, into private pockets. People say that Nigeria's gold is of great value in UAE. I don't know how much the government today is earning. I don't think, if you look at Nigeria's revenue today, I don't think there's any place in Nigeria's revenue where Nigeria is earning certain amount of money on gold. It still appears that we're relying solely on oil. Whereas there are other things now, lithium, many things,
we could actually
that is being mined illegally in the country.
So are you saying the miners now, the illegal miners, are the ones fueling the crisis of insurgents in Nigeria?
So there must be a collaboration between illegal miners, foreigners, some political state actors, because another Nigerian cannot start to illegal mining. How much? What's the resources you have? You the helicopters, have a mining area. You put people, illegal weapons. These are high-profile people, and if Nigeria cannot show it is big enough to deal with its demons and bind its big men, then the country cannot rise, because every great country has found a way to bind even the biggest men they have. Believe you me, if Donald Trump is true with his presidency, if he is, and the court finds it, America will jail him. That's a country that is big enough to bind his big men.
Mr. Henry, are we saying these principals now, these perpetrators, these actors, let me put it that way, especially the legal miners, are they stronger than the president? That's
the issue.
In every sector that are
above the law.
The president is the number one citizen.
He's the commander in chief.
So why are we having this problem?
That is what we must ask, and that's why for me I was very worried when Mr. President announced his cabinet and his Minister of Defense was the former governor of Jigawa State, a terrorism troubled area, and the Minister of State of Defense was the former governor of Zamfara. And I said, come, wait a minute, what is happening? What is happening? It tells you all you need to know about how the government is handling the issue of security. Because you can't say that the people who states have been riddled with insecurity, that the only strategy now is to reward them to come ahead the defense budget of the country. It tells you a lot about Mr. President's priorities for security.
So Mr. President can get ransom.
No, the box stop as his desk. He said it when he was in the opposition. He said it to President Jonathan that the box stops at your desk. He is president now. The box stops at his desk.
Okay.
Don't you think he's doing that just to get favor from top people in the north?
The question is this.
Like collaboration.
Mr. President's, I don't know,
effort.
his official age is around 70. He's in his mid-70s, official age. Some people will tell you he's older than that. If I am above 70, I don't think there's anything more I want in life again than to serve the people.
All right, let's bring it closer.
So I do not see any reason why Mr. President will not be able to.
State is also experiencing rising cases of insecurity, especially kidnapping.
Yeah.
How would you describe the nature of insecurity going by the Ondo State template?
So if you look at Ondo State, if you want to know if you're really working behind the scenes to make things better, it will show over time. What we are seeing now, rising security in the state, is to show you that in the last few months and year, that the people who should do the things they should do have not been serious at that job. Clear and simple.
In what way?
I mean, when you see criminal elements who are emboldened, they clearly see and they have clearly realized that the security personnel have become relaxed, our guard has been let down, and we have become lethargic. And it's clear, the F13, you see the protest on Saturday, I have a family need you, and you can barely go to some of those places now.
The Amoteku has always been coming out saying that they've been nabbing most of the
Nobody
criminals.
can tell us that the Amoteku now, that they are operating at the level of the Amoteku that started under the late government.
Like, is it an issue?
Should have been upgraded, or
We must motivate them. I mean, we can't be hearing snippets where these officials are saying they don't have a permanent letter of appointment. Let's stop.
The numbers they have.
It's not really okay. It's not only about employing. Do they have enough resources?
That is what I'm trying to say. We need more boots on the ground. Employment, good.
Fine.
We need to motivate these people.
They have enough resources, vehicles.
3, intelligence gathering. Are we doing enough? We know the troubled spots in the state. What efforts are we doing?
Intelligence gathering, the Amotekun will tell you they collaborate and work hand in hand with other sister security agencies.
So why is Ondo State constantly in the news now, nationally, on his insecurity if they are doing their job? Clearly something is wrong. Clearly something is wrong. So, and if Ondo State, if you're coming from Edo State, you see a lot of police here, but by the time you get to Ondo State axis like this, it's almost free. Like nothing is happening.
There are no police.
Nothing. Yes. So we need to ask ourselves and go and rethink, because now, as it stands today in the country, any government that holds his hand and just feel that things will just work, if we are not actively doing anything on security, it will tell.
Okay.
It will tell. I'll just pick an example. Look at Kano State.
Okay.
Kano State is probably the heart of northwestern Nigeria. But even when you had all of the Boko Haram issues, then bombing, you saw that Kano State, except from 1 or 2 times when it happened, Kano State have found a way to put in security, security, because it's a state that prides itself in commerce. There is something the leadership of that state has been doing well about security.
Okay.
If Ondo State wants to also move forward, we need to do something serious about security.
Maybe it's beyond the jurisdiction of Ondo State in terms of equipping. And
do you think we don't have enough resources?
It cannot be beyond.
Maybe it is the responsibility of the National Assembly.
I will not say, oh, we are pushing it to the federal. No. As it is today, what our constitution is, we know. You can't tell me that the state is helpless.
Because according to the constitution backing the formation of Amotekun, they are restricted in terms of handling weapons.
Yes.
The kind of weapons they should handle.
Yes.
Maybe in order to make it more,
even with these weapons that they are using, and if they are well positioned, they can still make huge success. It was the same weapon they were using when they were making huge success. when Ondo State was a no-go area for some of these criminal elements, and they were on the eve.
Okay. But you can't use yesterday's method to do it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Clearly, we need to do much more, and it's clear we are not doing enough.
Maybe state government is working on it, trying to liaise with the National Assembly.
This is not a National Assembly issue. Because if you see, I mean, if you have heard stories of people who have had to go and pay ransoms, the information they got, that people are available and say, see, these people have camps within the state. What attempt is on those state government doing to flush out those forests?
Okay, let's look at the nature of crime,
That's
Mr. Henry.
Yeah.
Would you say the insecurity happening in Nigeria, in Ondo State today, is more of money, like kidnapping for ransom, and not about terrorism? Probably these are indigents who just want to make use of the opportunity, and they just want to take advantage and just kidnap people. Yes, people who are actually
I like that question. I like that question perfectly, because now I also not deny the fact that there are now already locals who have joined this lucrative business. Because when you allow crime to fester, you are putting an invitation to others also to join. We have that situation where I'm clear that I know that some locals now are now giving these people information. That's one. Two, you see, the ransom taking is a well calculated effort to fund terrorism.
Okay.
That ransom taking, people who go and deliver this ransom, they see these people, they can't see the millions they are collecting on the quality of life that they are living. So it clearly tells you something. This is an well orchestrated attempt to fund terrorism. These monies that people are paying. I mean, is somebody doing a record of how much ransom have been paid this year, last year, in the last 3 years in Ondo State? These families have their stories to tell, how they drop these monies, where they drop these monies, in the places they drop these monies. So if we are not tracking these things, if you are not debriefing these families to know what is happening, to discover a pattern, that's how you investigate crime. To discover a pattern, who did you see? Where did they ask you to drop it? What area? What location? If we are not doing this thing, you can't fight insecurity if you are not inserting yourself into the scenario. Do you have a case where you're asking a family to go and pay so amount of money, and government say, okay, we will drop that money, but we would track the money?
Yes. So that's
government can do that. Some people are being transferred, and you are telling me that
are not tracking.
Let's leave this.
This boils down to the fact that our security personnel are not doing enough.
One, two. You see, they also will not do enough. They need an external force to push them. The political leadership must push them, must tell them that our priority number one is security, priority number two is security, priority number three is security.
Now
then they get the message.
Let's talk about technology now. Like the case we just mentioned now. Some of these kidnappers, they get ransom through transfer. Why is this? Are we saying that is it a difficult thing to actually trace the money some of these people do as transfer?
I want to believe that most of these ransoms come in cash. That one, that most of it. But there are cases where it done through maybe POS or the rest. That is one area that one they have already nailed themselves. That one should be easy to track, because the case I've had has always been cash. But there is the aspect where they are making calls continually to the families of these kidnapped.
At least we watch American movies where they track this.
Nigeria can track people.
So we have this technology.
Criminal, I think.
Nigeria.
Do we have this technology?
There are criminals who came to kill the former VC of Futa in Ijapo years ago, if you can remember, Professor Ilemobadi. These criminals ran out. Nigerian police force fished them out
with the use of GPS.
You can.
Even if you recall,
once you use a phone and you're making calls, you can track
it. Street, I can't remember the name now. The one in Lagos.
Okay. Evans was tracked. Evans was tracked. There is this Wadume also, causing problem in the northeast also. It was tracked.
So why are they not making use of it?
That is why we are saying, when you see this, it tells you that there are ulterior motive elsewhere. That the passion, the desire is not for this thing to end.
Because there are some people benefiting from it.
Clearly, it's not for it to end. But for you to tell me that people will make calls for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
you can't track it.
And you can't track it. These people are having TikTok pages showing the monies that they got on TikTok. on TikTok, and a boy will abuse the first lady of the country, and they DSS to go and pick him in his campus.
Misplaced priority.
So you see that, and you have had the former PPR of the state, the man there, the one who was there before Udenyi also left. The man said, in 2 weeks you have no hiding place. If you tweet anything, if you say anything wrong, the state has what it takes to pick you up. So why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that?
At this point, most Nigerians do not even believe in Nigerian security system. So what do you think the government should do to encourage people or to rebuild people's trust in the security system?
It's not.
What can they do differently?
You rebuild trust by showing results.
Okay.
It's how you rebuild trust. It's not government has to get these people. Let's see successes. Let's see tracking.
Then
let's see arrests. Let's see prosecution. Let's see all of these things. Let's hear that the crime rate has dropped. Then people's confidence will be rebuilt. It's as simple as that. But if government on the one hand says we want to find security, but spends most of the time on politics, what pisses me off about what we do is this: okay, you are a master politician, you are politicking. What has it translated into in quality of life, in standard of living? How has it advanced your country?
Are you saying that the government for political will to take steps is?
I feel that politicking has consumed much of what we should do in terms of governance. That I believe very strongly.
So how do we now set the boundaries?
Boundaries? It boils down to the individuals. Some people just feel that this thing is just a game. That I get elected and it's just a game. It's not a game. These are lives of people. Potentially the lives of your own family and children too. Because insecurity, you cannot tell where it will fall or who it will affect tomorrow. People will think you are playing a game. I mean, you are the chief officer of the state. You don't have an hospital that can take care of you even if you have an emergency health condition. Is it a game? You are talking with your life. And eventually you now have a state, a country that when you have your health crisis, you can't treat yourself there. You have to go about the game to go and treat yourself.
Okay.
So it appears this people think we are playing. It's not a game. Okay. It's people's lives.
Mr. Henry, looking ahead, let's be optimistic at least about this. Are you optimistic that Nigeria can fix this issue, or do you think we are dealing with something deeper? So what do you think about the future?
The cause of optimism for me,
is
that we have what it takes to do it. If we want to do it, that's optimism for me.
Okay.
But the aspect where I'm pessimistic about is I believe very strongly that political will is not there. I believe very strongly that many of these things are sacrificed on the altar of politics, of winning the next election.
Yes.
And therefore you will not get it done in the way you should get it done. And then I believe also lastly that patriotism is dying.
All right, thank you so much, a public commentator, also a friend of the house, Henry Olonimoyo. Thank you for your time on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And you see, it's the concept of government being responsible is non-negotiable. It's a necessity, and government must be up and doing in ensuring their constitutional giving responsibility. Is very, very important, and to that they can begin to build confidence in the system. All of this should not be sacrificed on the altar of politics. Human life is sacrosanct, and it shouldn't be sacrificed as such. All right, now we take a break. Now we'll come back to let you know what we have on the menu. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends. But before the fame, there was fire. Born on October 25, 1900 in Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Funmilayo was born Frances Abigail Olufunmilayo Thomas. She came from a family that valued education, and in 1914, she became the first female student at Abeokuta Grammar School. Determined and brilliant, she later traveled to England for further studies, a rare feat for a Nigerian woman at that time. There, she trained as a teacher, absorbing ideas of equality and freedom that would shape her life's mission. On returning to Nigeria in the 1920s, she married Reverend Israel Ransome Kuti, a clergyman and educator. Together, they worked to uplift their community through education. But Funmilayo was not content with just teaching. She saw how colonial rule and traditional structures oppressed Nigerian women, and she decided to act. In 1947, she founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of Africa's most powerful grassroots women movements. The group fought against unfair taxation and the corrupt practices of the Alake, the traditional ruler of Abeokuta. Thousands of women led by Funmilayo marched in protest. They sang, they chanted, they occupied, and eventually they won. The Alake was forced to abdicate. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was fearless. She was one of the few Nigerian women to drive a car, to travel widely, and to speak truth to power. Her activism didn't stop in Abeokuta. She was a founding member of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, a member of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. And in 1953, she became the first Nigerian woman to visit the Soviet Union, a move that earned her the label communist sympathizer by British authorities. But she wasn't deterred. In fact, she was emboldened. In her later years, she focused on broader issues: education, voting rights, women participation in politics. She advocated for the inclusion of women in leadership and resisted Nigeria's slide into authoritarianism. She raised 4 children, including Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer, instilling in them the spirit of resistance and truth. But tragedy would eventually come. In 1977, during a brutal military raid on Fela's compound, known as Kalakuta Republic, Funmilayo was thrown from a second-story window by soldiers. She never recovered from the injuries, and on April 13th, 1978, she passed away. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was more than a mother, more than a teacher. She was a symbol of courage, of resistance, of dignity. She paved the path so Nigerian women could walk tall, speak freely, and fight for justice. Her legacy lives in every classroom, every protest, every woman who dares to say enough is enough. This was the story of Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. the lioness of Lisabi, a voice that cannot be silenced, a spirit that lives on.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still AM Today on Osrc Television. Now, let's take a step back and look into real facts that is shaping how Nigerians live their everyday life. We are not just going to be looking at what is happening, but we'll be looking at what it actually means for all of us. So let's get into it. The first fact I have here is about religious diversity. Nigeria is one of the most religious countries in the world, with Christianity and Islam being the two major religions. You know, Nigerians are deeply religious people, and it tells from how we live our life, even to what we do, to our relationship, the kind of relationship we get, our families, and even business. It's influenced the kind of business we do. So when we say Nigeria is religious, and it's not just Muslim, Christian, there are other religions as well, even the Sheshe, the traditional worshippers.
But it's okay. It's good that we have that diversity in terms of religion, but we also need to look at the over religiosity of Nigeria, and what are the negative effects of that. You know, religion somehow, how to what extent is religion promoting economy, productivity? Because you've seen a lot of cases, especially in the Christian folks, where people should be making use of their time, engaging, their productive time to make money, to do businesses. They are somewhere in the church praying and stuff like that. And we know that the God they are even praying to, God is very, he's a busy God.
Yes.
Very, very indigent, given the fact that he put creation in place in 7 days. And he rested the 6th day, so he was industrious.
I believe
God is industrious.
There needs to be a balance when we talk about religion.
And also, a lot of people, especially the extremists, killing, going for a cause, negative cause, under the umbrella of religion, under the name of religion. I saw something some other time that religion is the enemy of God. In our sense, in our way of reasoning, we think religion is about serving God, and in the real sense, is about creating a kind of wall of partition between man and God. People are manipulating people, or using, under the umbrella of religion, doing all sorts of things. So it's okay that we are diversified.
Well, I think religion,
but more importantly, what is the role of religion in promoting development in any given society? The pros now, do they outweigh the cons? So I think that we should leave the question.
For now, I think there should be a balance, and I think religion gives people hope and stability when it comes. As a species, as human beings, we've evolved over time with religion. So most of our decision is influenced by religion, except homes or families who are not.
But we should not over spiritualize it.
We should not be.
We must learn to be balanced, given the fact that your religion should be able to reflect in terms of development and promoting any given society.
All right, the next one I have here is about food prices. Rising food prices are affecting not just spending, but how Nigerians eat. Over the last couple of years, we've seen how food prices has increased, and we can say that is affected because of the inflation, because maybe the war is also affecting food prices, because the price of the let's say a bag of rice now is far different from how it was several months ago. So the cost of food is affecting how Nigerians eat. Nigerians don't even eat 3 square meals again. Probably they eat when they are hungry. If they have eaten once or twice a day, is okay. So I believe this high food price must have affected how Nigerians eat.
The war may be a contributing factor. We also need to look inward. Our agriculture, to what extent is government actually promoting and boosting the
we spoke with Osrc, the Ondo State Empowerment center for agribusiness, where the chairman was telling us about how the government is supporting farmers, and he made mention that they can't just support farmers, they have to see what they are doing before they can give you the money. So you can't just go to this agency and say that they should support you without actually providing or wanting to give something in return, providing something valuable in return. So I think the government is doing their best.
Even beyond on those states, well, let's also look at the angle of insecurity. Insecurity now. A lot of farmers are even afraid to go to farm, especially in the north. And if you know that the larger percentage of the food we eat in Nigeria comes from the north part of the country.
Yes.
So if we really want to ensure food security, then government should also do something, something needful in sense of ensuring the safety and the security of farmers.
It's not as though there's no food, because recently Nigeria tops one of the country of food wasters. They say we waste food in this country. So there's food. So I believe.
So how come people are hungry then?
There's food, but I think we have an issue of preserving this food as well. When there is no light and there's no proper way of preserving, most of our food is perishable. Before you know it, it's bad.
And maybe that also talks about it still take us down to the issue of power again. All right.
Well, the president signed into bill 3-point-something trillion naira to support this power sector. So I think
I hope we'll start seeing
very soon we'll start seeing results on that. So the next factor I have here is about movement and daily planning. Transportation costs are forcing people to rethink how they move, when they move, and how they plan their day. We still say similar to the food price surge, where transportation has also increased. Let's look at Ondo State for an example. The amount you're going to take a taxi from Osrc here to Ojaba some months ago is far different from how it is now. And they will say it was war that actually caused it, one of the reasons that caused it. But of course, the war is going to cease. We believe the war is going to cease between Iran and US very soon.
The ceasefire talk is ongoing.
Yes.
Hopefully it will end.
Hopefully it's going to end
in positive results.
Because for many workers, they are now spending at least, let's say, twice of what they are spending several months ago. So let's hope that this war is going to make things more okay. And there's something about this transportation cost as well. When it goes up like that, you rarely see it come down. But I think with this ceasefire, probably we are going to see a decrease in.
PMS generally is a very essential global commodity. There is a product, like every society is programmed in such a way that you cannot exist or move forward without PMS.
Of course.
All right. So that's explain why situations like this give us the opportunity to look beyond being a mono-sector economy, especially in Nigeria. We are so dependent on oil.
Yes.
So we should also be looking at other sectors so that if we have situations like this, then we know how to navigate our way and ensure that we sustain our daily living.
Earlier, how we can also utilize our other mineral resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only crude oil.
Ondo State, for instance, is very rich. We have bitumen, we have
gold in Ondo State.
So we should stop. We need to deviate from a mono-economy society to a multi-layer economy in terms of development and sustaining daily lives.
Okay. Multiple incomes. Many Nigerians now rely on more than one source of income. These days there are people now, they no longer depend only on their source of income. They now have side businesses. Just to be able to maintain their daily living. They now have to hustle both online, doing different kind of things like digital marketing, doing some kind of remote jobs, selling things online, just to make ends meet.
To be creative.
So,
yes, that's exactly what we've been saying, that we need to start working towards not just a consuming economy, a very productive and a creative economy as well. That's the way to go in this 21st century.
And I love the fact that in most tertiary institutions now, I think there are now students who are going into entrepreneurship. You see, if you go to a 100 level or 200 level schools in an institution now, you see a 100 level or 200 level selling something just to make money from it. So when you have this entrepreneurship spirit right from school, I believe it's going to follow you to, when you leave school and you want to be on your own, you are going to be able to be creative to actually bring forth a business that is both valuable to yourself and the economy.
It is very important, given the fact that economy is biting hard. The economy is not really helping in terms of inflation, and that suggests why you need to sustain enough financial wisdom to navigate your way. And one of such is creating streams of income to support yourself. The way it is now, the economy is simply telling you that you cannot depend, you can't afford it. It's too expensive to depend on one source of income.
Yes, it's not even just about survival now.
It's going to outweigh you.
It's not even just about survival now.
Overboarding, definitely.
Yes, there are people building businesses, full businesses from all this side hustle. So lastly, I have here entertainment. Nigeria's entertainment industry is growing beyond just entertainment. It is becoming a serious economic force. And let's look at the music and film industry of Nigeria. The other day, actress Funke Akindele was able to raise the gross at the box office for our latest movie was amounting into 2 billions of naira. So you know the entertainment industry in Nigeria these days is actually an economic force.
It's very lucrative.
It's actually very lucrative.
And that explains why so many actors internationally are coming into that sector. For instance, Netflix is provided the platform for filmmakers to stream their movies so that they get to the audience, and if it's not lucrative they won't be here. They are after business as well.
This is shaping how others see Nigeria. They see Nigeria as a business ground where they can actually make profit. So and that will be all on this segment for fact. Thank you for being with us on this segment. I'm going to end that.
And that's a wrap for AM Today. We sincerely appreciate everyone for being a part of it. The conversation continuing on all our social media platforms with the handle scrolling on the screen. We'd like to hear from you. Subscribe, like, comment, or as the case may be, to get the conversation going. Until next week when we'll be coming your way again, I remain Alex Adejoye. Do have a productive week. I'm from Bukola. And
Adebukola Oba is my name. Thank you for staying with us today on AM Today. Until we come your way again next week, do have a beautiful day ahead.